Good evening and good night. This is Quisp Adventures. As always, I am your host Quisp, and today we're doing part 3 of our 4-part series of my TNT experience. This video is the don'ts. This video is the don'ts of TNT. And you'll notice a recurring theme here throughout the videos. First one on the list that I have written down is don't be rude. Right? You are a guest on this truck. It's like I almost said this before. You are a guest on this truck. Be mindful of that. It doesn't matter if they are a lease op. Doesn't matter if they're a company driver. You are a guest on their truck. Remember that. That goes into the second thing of don't argue with your trainer. If your trainer is asking you to do something, if your trainer is telling you to do something, listen to them. Whether or not you believe they're right or wrong, and they could be wrong. It is possible. It doesn't matter. Listen to what your trainer is telling you. That is why you are on the truck. And I say that from experience, right? I never really necessarily got into like a big knockout, drag out with my trainer. Thankfully, there's not going to be a my TNT trainer horror story video, right? I was very lucky that didn't happen with me. One of the things that I struggled with in the beginning was navigation, right? And I would be looking at the GPS on the Qualcomm. I'd be looking at, he also had a RAN, so I'd be looking at those. I'd go, okay, we're taking this exit. And he'd be sitting there, he'd look at me like, what are you doing? I'm taking the exit. No, go straight. Okay, so I'd get over, I'd go straight. GPS goes off, ding, make a U-turn when safe to do so, right? And you go, oh, that was the exit. I was like, yeah, that was the exit. That happened a couple of times, and it's okay. But do what they say, because remember, you're in charge of a 80,000 vehicle going down the highway. The last thing you want to do is try to be navigating through traffic, and then on top of that, argue with your trainer. Just don't do it. It's okay. It doesn't matter how tight the load is, there's always time to slow down, figure out how to turn around safely, not on a divided highway like some other carriers we've seen on bonehead truckers, right? Just listen to your trainer. They are telling you to do things for a reason, right? And if you don't understand something, ask. That's another don't, is don't be afraid to ask questions. It doesn't matter if you've asked the question 10 times, if it's not clicking in your head, and there are things that in my head that didn't click, that still aren't completely there, right? Like one of the biggest things I struggled with that annoyed him to no end was sliding tandems. For whatever reason, my brain cannot correctly go through the process of take air out of the trailer, right? Go back, pull the pin, come back in, pull forward, right? Stop, the whole process. For whatever reason, my brain cannot process the correct order to do it in. So it takes me a minute to slide tandems. That's just what it is. And even I think the second to last load we did, right? I was still struggling with sliding tandems. I was like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I'm just trying to slide the tandems. No, do this. Oh, okay. That was just something that I struggled with. So, and if you're not clear on something, right? If you're not clear on what a macro does or when to send it or how to pull it, right? Don't be afraid to ask those questions, right? And that goes into the other thing of etiquette, right? This may be something that gets taught by your trainer. It may be something that doesn't get taught by your trainer. Is learn the etiquette of being a truck driver, right? The biggest one that I'll talk about in this video, because it is the one that will get you knocked out and drug out of your truck by the bull haulers and the old timer dudes, and some prime drivers, because it's just dumb, is fuel island. Rule of thumb for the fuel island: you pull into the fuel island, you get truck fuel, you fill the reefer, maybe you get def, and you pull forward to the line and you go get your sody water, right? However long it took you to fuel is how long you get to sit in front of the pumps. So if it took you 15 minutes to fill, you can sit at the line for 15 minutes and bam, you go on about your day. Especially at like the smaller pilots and the loves where, there's 6 fuel lines and there's not really truck parking, so the line, kind of backs up into the street, because those truck stops do exist. If you're brand new to this, yes, you can end up sitting in line for fuel on the street. It happened to me once, I think. Um, Fuel island etiquette, right? However long it takes you to fuel, that's how long you get to sit in front of the fuel stop. Now, do the rules change based on different scenarios? Yes, there's always exceptions to every rule. Sometimes when you park the truck to fuel, it happened to me, you can't wait to go to the bathroom until you're done fueling. It, that's just kind of how it is. But if you do that, right, if you take that time that you would have sat on the line and go inside before you fuel, don't go do that, fuel, then pull forward and sit on the line, right? That no, don't do that. So learn the etiquette of being a truck driver, right? One that I know some trainers don't teach, because I've actually talked to a couple of students about it, is nighttime driving. If you have a truck trying to get over, um, on the I had never had to do it in the freight when I was in PSD, but in the peak, right? You flash your brake. If they're trying to get over, right? You flash your brights at them and say, "Hey, you've got room to come on over." And if you're the one trying to get over, right, and you try to get over, and they flash you, when you get over, you flash your brake lights. You know, that's something that may or may not be taught by trainers, but that's a really big one of being on the road, right? Because there was one night I was in Wyoming on I-80, and I didn't do it, right, because I was just not, I just didn't feel like doing it, right, and the dude told me I was number one as he was going by me, right? So remember to have etiquette for other drivers, even if they don't show you that etiquette back, right? Because there are plenty of instances with the other megas that I've seen on the road, right? Where I'll flash my brights, I'll let them over, and they just keep going on, and they never said thank you. Which, that's on them. You can only control what you do. Um, but yeah, so don't argue with your trainer. Don't be rude to other drivers. Don't park in the fuel island for forever. Don't get a shower while you're sitting in the fuel island too. Don't do that. Don't be one of those. I have seen people do it. I've seen a prime driver do it. Don't do it. Unless it is like 3 a.m. in the morning, there is nobody there, and you are 1,000% certain nobody's gonna pull behind you. Don't get a shower on the fuel island. And the last biggest don't is don't think that you can get away with it. That's kind of like a broad thing, right? Don't get away with it, right? Um, Somebody is always watching. I'll put it that way. If you're doing a Fight Club load, um, you have the GPS tracker, right? The trucks, they're satellite equipped. They know where you are. They know how fast you're going. Um, if you go, when you're in a truck stop, there's cameras everywhere. A lot of truckers have cameras now. Full 360 cameras, right? Always do the right thing, right? That goes back to Prime's 3 golden rules, which are do your best, do what's right, and treat others the way you want to be treated, right? Always assume somebody is watching you, because more than likely that's the case. As always, I am Quisp, your host. This is Quisp Adventures, and of course, you'll see me next time.